Some people still argue about whether climate change is real. The markets don't. They've already made up their mind and they're cashing in. Insurance companies are redrawing maps, abandoning entire zip codes. Hedge funds are buying up water rights like they're gold. Energy giants are rebranding themselves as saviors, and governments. They're not just fighting climate change, they're trading it. Somewhere between the panic and the policy, someone realized this isn't just a crisis. It's a business model. A trillion-dollar transformation hiding in the language of survival. Welcome to the story of how climate change became the most profitable disaster in history. This is who's getting rich off climate change. Every empire in history has been built on energy. Coal powered Britain's navy, its factories, and its dominance. Oil built America's century and reshaped the world order. And now, the race for the future runs on lithium, cobalt, and wind. In the 1800s, coal wasn't just fuel, lit was strategy. Britain mined more coal than the rest of the world combined. Every ton shipped from Newcastle powered industry, expansion, and empire. But that smoke came with a cost. As early as 1896, the Swedish chemist Svante Arrhenius warned that burning coal could warm the planet. He was ignored, because in that age, pollution meant progress. When oil replaced coal in the 20th century, it created new empires. Rockefeller's Standard Oil, OPEC, the Seven Sisters. Whoever controlled energy, controlled wealth, war, and policy. By the 1950s, scientists inside companies like Exxon predicted global warming with stunning accuracy. They warned of rising temperatures, melting ice, and coastal flooding. But their research was buried, because you can't sell fear if it threatens your fortune. By the 1990s, governments finally began to act. But instead of punishing pollution, they priced it. The Kyoto Protocol of 1997 created a new global market, the market for carbon. Countries and corporations received carbon credits, which are permits to emit a certain amount of carbon dioxide. It's pollute less, and you could sell your unused credits. It's pollute more, and you'd have to pay the price. It was capitalism's solution to an ecological problem. Don't stop emissions, trade them. In 2005, the European Union launched its emissions trading system, which now handles over $1 trillion in carbon trades every single year. On paper, it looks efficient. Practice, it's a game of smoke and mirrors. Companies buy offsets for planting forests that never grow. Some pay to protect land that was already protected. Pollution didn't stop, just got an exchange rate. Wall Street turned emissions into assets. The planet's decay became a tradable commodity. Once carbon became a market, the next boom was inevitable: renewable energy. By the 2010s, solar panels and wind turbines were no longer experimental, they were profitable. Governments poured billions into subsidies. Investors poured trillions into green funds, all promising to decarbonize the future. A new gold rush began. This time, the prospectors weren't oil barons. They were tech billionaires, venture funds, and startups. Tesla became the new Standard Oil. Its valuations soared past that of Toyota, Volkswagen, and Ford combined. Not because it sold the most cars, but because it sold the most convincing story about the future. Behind that story, a new scramble began. Lithium in Bolivia, cobalt in the Congo, nickel in Indonesia. The so-called clean revolution was built on another extractive empire, one just as dirty, just as exploitative. And in that geopolitical shift, one nation quietly took the lead: China. It now produces over 60% of the world's rare earths and controls more than 80% of refining capacity. While Western nations celebrate the transition, China controls the supply chain that makes it possible. Oil was America's weapon of power in the 20th century. Minerals are China's in the 21st. It's different resource, same strategy. Control the bottleneck, control the world. As the planet heats, risk itself has become a commodity. Insurance companies, once terrified of climate risk, have learned to profit from it. They raise premiums, withdraw from coastal regions, and invent new financial products: catastrophe bonds. A cat bond works like this. Investors buy the bond and earn regular interest. But if a disaster, like a hurricane or a wildfire, hits certain parameters, the issuer keeps the investor's money to cover the damage. It's a financial bet on catastrophe. And the more volatile the planet becomes, the more attractive the gamble. By 2024, the global cat bond market surpassed $45 billion. Pension funds and hedge funds bought in not to help, but to hedge. When everything else feels uncertain, disaster starts to look like a reliable business. Every flood, every fire, every drought is now a financial event. In the new climate economy, tragedy generates returns. After the 2008 crash, finance needed a moral makeover. It found 1 in 3 letters: ESG, environmental, social, and governance. Invest with conscience, they said. Do well by doing good. By 2023, ESG assets surpassed $40 trillion. That's 1/3 of all professionally managed money on Earth. But the fine print told a different story. There is no single definition of sustainable. A company could emit millions of tons of CO and still be labeled green if it checked enough boxes elsewhere, like diversity, disclosures, or offset purchases. Oil companies promise net zero by 2050 while expanding drilling. Coal producers launch transition plans. Rating agencies, the same ones that once labeled junk mortgages as AA, began selling climate virtue scores to the highest bidder. Sustainability became branding. Virtue became an investment strategy, and ethics became a subscription service. Governments joined the frenzy. Across North America and Europe, green stimulus became the new industrial policy. The U.S. Inflation Reduction Act alone promised more than $370 billion in clean energy incentives. Officially, it was about lowering emissions. In reality, it was a corporate subsidy program on a planetary scale. Companies didn't just apply for tax credits, they redesigned their business models around them. Every EV factory, hydrogen hub, and battery plant came with a trail of incentives and lobbyists. The winners weren't the small innovators. They were the same industrial giants too big to fail, now too green to question. Meanwhile, China used Western climate policies to its own advantage. It became the world's largest producer of solar panels, turbines, and EV batteries, not out of altruism. But for dominance, the empire didn't fall, it simply shifted eastward. Control of production replaced control of oil fields. The climate economy runs on a simple truth. Scarcity has value. Water scarcity, food scarcity, scarcity of stability itself. Banks now calculate climate risk into mortgage rates. Investors buy land on higher ground. Hedge funds seek what they call climate alpha, profit earned from predicting catastrophe. The worse the forecast, the higher the returns. Finance has found a way to turn fear into yield. We've seen this before. During the Cold War, profit came from deterrence. After 9/11s, it came from surveillance. Now it comes from survival. The logic never changes. Security for sale, fear as fuel. Thank you for watching. If you found this breakdown insightful, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more content that looks behind the headlines. Stay curious. We've created a market to soothe our guilty conscience: carbon offsets. The idea is simple. Pay someone to plant trees or protect a forest, and your carbon footprint magically disappears. It sounds great, doesn't it? But a bombshell investigation in 2023 revealed a shocking truth. Over 90% of rainforest offsets from a top certifier were practically worthless. Why? The forests they were supposed to protect were already gone, cut down, or burned away. And yet the trading didn't stop. These deals continued to be made because carbon offsets sell the one product that everyone, everywhere wants to buy: forgiveness. They allow airlines to keep flying their jets across the oceans, oil companies to keep drilling deeper into the earth, and all of us to keep consuming, all with a clean conscience, conveniently attached to every transaction. It's a brilliant system. Climate economy, it turns out, doesn't actually run on carbon. It runs on belief. Not a belief in saving nature, but a belief in the system's incredible ability to take our guilt and repackage it as economic growth. Here's the uncomfortable truth we need to face. Capitalism isn't afraid of crises. In fact, it feeds on them. It thrives on them. When the planet starts to burn, the wealthy don't panic. They see an opportunity. They invest. You see billionaires snapping up vast stretches of farmland in places like New Zealand. Tech founders are buying up fortified bunkers in remote corners of Patagonia. In the big banks, they're launching new financial products like resilience bonds, designed to profit from the chaos. But for the rest of us, the cost of climate change isn't some abstract concept on a stock ticker. It's real, and it's hitting our wallets. It's the price of groceries doubling in a year. It's home insurance becoming unavailable or unaffordable in high-risk areas. It's our electricity bills that never seem to go down, no matter how many shiny new wind farms pop up on the horizon. The climate economy doesn't just create winners and losers. It draws a sharp line. It's dividing the world into those who can afford to adapt to the new reality and those who are left behind to face the consequences. Crises don't create greed. They reveal it, bringing it out into the open for everyone to see. We've built economic models that monetize war, that turn fear into profit, and that keep entire nations buried under debt. And now, we've managed to monetize the most fundamental thing of all: survival itself. Climate change isn't just the defining crisis of our century, it's become the defining asset class. It's the ultimate investment opportunity. And it seems the only thing more powerful than the collective fear of global collapse is the irresistible opportunity for a select few to profit from, supposedly preventing it. If this gave you a new perspective on the world we're living in, hit that subscribe button and join the conversation. Because understanding history isn't just about learning where we've been, about exposing who's getting rich along the way. Thanks for watching.